Hello everybody, welcome back to IndyCar. This is a special additional IndyCar, a sort of post-Nicola version of what I did this morning. Now, I don't know about you, I've always considered myself to be fairly knowledgeable about things that are happening in Scotland's politics at the moment, and I've spent a lot of time, as you know, trying to dissect the kind of things that are going on with Brexit, with independence, trying to parse what is going on behind the scenes in political parties, trying to make sense of things so that people can kind of understand what's happening, why things aren't happening, and how things should progress and how they might progress in the future. But even I, after covering this kind of thing for the last 3 years on IndyCar, I'm completely baffled by today's Nicola Sturgeon announcement. On the one hand, it sounded really positive and it was full of all the right sorts of things, like we're going to have an independence referendum and it will probably be before 2021, before the end of this parliament. All that sounded fantastic until she said, but only if we could get a Section 30 order. She did say that they were going to legislate, in other words, create the laws that would devolve the powers that we needed to hold a referendum. But the vital link in this whole sort of daisy chain that's necessary, apparently, is for the Prime Minister in Westminster to say, here's a nice Section 30 order, Nicola, off you go and have your referendum. So here we are, back, and I'm going full circle again, back to the cap in hand, begging ball out in Westminster, please, please let us have a vote. Is that really the only way that we can obtain our freedom? Is that the only possible way that the people of Scotland can actually express their opinion? To be honest with you, I know I'm probably going to get pelters for saying this, but I think that this is just another punting of the can down the road. I mean, I said that Theresa May had fired the can into the near future using a trebuchet, and I think Nicola has done the same thing here. We're keeping all the options open. Nothing has been taken off the table. Nothing's been put on the table. Some of the things have been put under the table, and one or two other things have been put in a cupboard somewhere, but nothing's actually happened. Everything is the same again. We're back here waiting for Theresa May. We're waiting for a Section 30 order. We're waiting to see what happens with Brexit. Do you know, we'll be here for decades if we wait like this much longer. Something that struck me today that Jackson Carlaw said. Now, I don't often listen to Jackson Carlaw, as you probably know. I'm not big on the Tories, but I listened to him today because he said something that I think was quite telling. And he said that Nicola Sturgeon could not produce a shred of evidence. No, it wasn't even Jackson Carlaw, I beg your pardon. I think it was Richard Leonard today said that Nicola Sturgeon couldn't produce a shred of evidence that there was any support for a second referendum in Scotland. And he went unchallenged as far as I could see. Nobody said, oh, but there is evidence. Nobody said a thing to challenge him. So what I want to know is this. Why is it, if we really want to know if people want independence, why are we so scared of just having a census, just asking them the question, even if we have a massive crowdfunding for this, and the government can hold not a ballot, but a census. Let's get people's opinions. Let's see if they want independence or not. See how many of them do at the moment. Why are we so scared to find this out? And why are we so scared of actually publishing the data on it? If, as we expect, that there is a majority for independence at the moment in the Scottish electorate, well, why not test it? We don't have to have a referendum to do that. We could simply have an advisory, it's not even a referendum. This is just an advisory ballot so that we can test public opinion, like a giant poll, if you like, right? Imagine a giant poll that involved all of the electorate of Scotland. Why not do that? Let's settle this. Let's see where we're at. Everybody is guessing at the moment. Nobody wants to actually poll the people. They're scared they're going to lose. Well, let's take the whole issue of independence out of the picture, right? Let's imagine that we have an experiment, right? A national experiment where everybody gets to record their opinion on independence and their opinion on Brexit or their opinion on the Union. We maybe ask them in a poll 3 or 4 different questions. But mostly we want to find out what people's opinion is at the moment of independence as an option just now. Would they support it or would they not? Ask them their opinion on would they support, shall we say, home rule, right? Let's say we have the almost federalism that Gordon Brown was talking about. That would be where we have control of everything, perhaps except defence and foreign affairs. And then we look at the situation of status quo, and we look at how many people would support each. And then we'll actually know what the Scottish people really, really want. Because at the moment, nobody has a Scooby. We're all groping around in the dark, pretending that we think we know how many people are going to vote for independence. All we can tell at the moment, in all honesty, is that a lot of people that we know who were no voters have now decided to switch sides. But we can't quantify that. The only way you can quantify that is to officially ask the people. It's not even a referendum, it'd be a census, an opinion poll, but a national opinion poll. And let's be open and honest about it. If we're really serious about getting people behind independence, we have to level with them. And the easiest way to do that is to ask them directly in an open poll, which has no end result, doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean they're going to get independence. It's not binding in any possible way. And it's just a big opinion poll. Let's have a census and see how many of us actually support independence in the real world, right? Let's say we ballot 4 million on the electoral register right now. And we can do the analytics on all of it. We can break it down into age groups, age ranges, income brackets, people who are working, people who are retired, people who are in full-time education. We'll be able to look at all of them. And that information should be made available to everybody because it's a scientific experiment, right? We want to find out what people really want Scotland to be like and how they see the future of the country. Everything that we're seeing at the moment from every party, and I include the SNP in this, is their vision of what they think we should want. Not our vision of what we want, their vision. The SNP have been saying that they want independence in Europe. They want us to be an independent nation in Europe. And that's fine. I'm not saying that that's a bad idea, but I'm saying that's one idea. There are a lot of people who want independence who don't want to be in Europe. And we don't like to talk about that. That's a taboo subject. But they exist, and they have a right to that opinion, they have a right to that view. They need to be polled as well. Do they want independence? Do they want independence that's tied to a vote on going back into Europe? Let's find these things out. Why are we messing about? Why are we hiding it all? Why is it a secret? Why don't we find this out? If we find it out, then we can undermine, or not undermine, but we can debunk all the mythology around independence that's been spread from all sides. All the crap that's been spoken could be swept away by a bit of bloody honesty and asking people for their real opinions. The real opinions will count then, because then you might be able to get some consensus. If Nicola Sturgeon is serious about looking for consensus across all parties in Scotland on the best way forward, then there has to be a national census that involves every voter in Scotland, including the youngsters down to the age of 16 and all the way up to the 90s, you know, 1 foot in the grave. We need everybody's opinion. It's no point in something as important as this, in guessing or trying to railroad people into one particular form of independence. There's also no point in tying it to Brexit. The two things are linked, but they're not bound together at the hip. One thing does not produce the other. Brexit doesn't produce independence. Brexit affects people's opinions of independence, but we don't know how much. If Brexit does happen, how does that affect your opinion of independence? We don't know that, right? If Brexit didn't happen, would you still vote for independence? Everybody's too frightened to find out. And because they're too frightened to find out, nobody's moving, right? Even Nicola Sturgeon is not moving. She is making a very broad outline of what she wants to do, and she is tying that again to going back to London to ask Theresa May for permission to have a vote. Permission, for Christ's sake, to have a vote in your own country. We don't need that. We just need the people to tell us what they want. Nicola said ages ago, she said the people of Scotland must tell her when they want independence. How are they going to tell her? There hasn't been any way of measuring opinion. An opinion poll in a newspaper is flawed. We know it's flawed. They can be made to say anything. The best opinion poll you could do would be a full public census of all opinions, all shades of opinion. Those who want no deal Brexit, those who want to stay things to stay exactly as they are now in the EU and in the UK, those who want to be out of the UK but in the EU, those who want a federal Britain, those who want a united sort of Celtic states of Britain. There are all different shades of opinion, and we need to find these things out. There's no point in proceeding any further with this unless we actually know what people want. And until we take ownership of that and take responsibility for it, we're not going to move forwards. I have to be honest with you today. I've always tried to be honest with viewers of this programme. I'm deeply disappointed by this announcement today. It didn't go far enough. It didn't commit the government to finding out what people wanted. It just said, oh, well, we're going to have an independence vote if there's Brexit and if we can get permission. The whole thing is tied to Brexit, and it's tied to the bloody Tories, for goodness sake, in London. Now, this is not how you get independence. You don't get independence by waiting for somebody else to give you permission to have it and then begging to get a piece of paper that allows it to be legal. You have to find out if people want it. If people want it, then you know you're going to win. If you know you're going to win, you could have the vote tomorrow and you would know you were going to win. And you wouldn't be scared and you wouldn't be going cap in hand to Theresa May to get a Section 30 order. The honest truth, I think, is simple. We must have a census of opinion, a full census of every voter in Scotland. What do they want? What do the Tories want? What do the Lib Dems want? What do the Socialists want? What do the Greens want? What does everybody want Scotland to be? And then we'll see where the common ground is and we'll go that way. Because at the moment, everything is just supposition. It's smoke and mirrors. It's being characterised as what Nicola Sturgeon wants. It's been characterised as her obsession. And the trouble with Nicola's strategy, although I understand it, is that it's so bloody obvious. It's obvious that she is going through the motions of everything, of talking to trying to get cross-party consensus on how to move forwards. And when the Tories knock that back and when Labour says, no, we're not interested, she can say then, well, I tried. But they know, and we know, and Nicola knows, that it is all box ticking. It's not a real process. Nobody's going to agree to it. And all the political parties are doing is delaying and delaying and delaying. None of the politicians of this era have got enough boldness, enough bravery to actually ask the population what they want to do. They want to try and finagle everybody into what they want us to do. They want to manipulate the way we think so that we will fit in with the kind of Brexit they want or the kind of independence that they've designed for us. Nobody has looked at this from the other end of the telescope and asked, what do you voters want? If we actually asked the voters what they wanted Scotland to be like next year, and we gave them a whole batch of possibilities, let's see what they say. Do you want to be independent? Do you want things to stay as they are? Do you want Brexit? Do you want to be independent and have Brexit? Do you want to be, in the UK without Brexit? Let's give people some choices and see what they say. It would be much more useful if we are going to proceed as a country to know what people want. The only way you can find that out is with a full census. And that census would be far more useful than any ballot at the moment. Simply because at this moment in time, people are sick of politics. Absolutely sick to death of politicians, of waffle, of endless delays, of frustration, and nothing getting done. All we need to do is find out what people want and give them that. then they'll be happy and we can all move on. At the moment, everything is just a load of waffle and hot air and kicking the can down the road another year, another 6 months, another 2 years, and we're still no further forward, and there's no guarantee that anything is going to happen. I'm not surprised, actually, that people are getting fed up and wandering off. I'm on the brink of it myself because I despair of the current crop of politicians, and I include the SNP in that. I never thought I would say this, but all of them are so gutless and so narrow-minded that they can't see what's staring them in the face. Ask the people what they want. They'll tell you, and they'll tell you what they want in the nice, clear terms. Ask them what they want. A census is the answer to this. And as I say, I'll get pelters for criticising the politicians. I don't care, because I honestly think that surely I can't be the only person thinking this. Somebody said to me the only poll that really counts when it comes right down to it is the one on the day of an election, or the one on the day of a referendum when everybody votes. So why don't we just take independence and take Brexit away from this and just ask people what they want? If it was an ideal situation, what would you want to happen right now? And I'll bet you we get a consensus. And I'll bet you a very strong consensus will come back from that. And we'll see the true picture of what people in Scotland want right this moment, right now. Because all we can really do is take a snapshot of people's views just now. I hesitate to use the word opinions. Opinions can sometimes be based on nothing more than prejudices. What I want is people's views on different potential futures for Scotland as a country. Not what the parties have neatly packaged up for you and what they want you to accept. No, we need people to actually tell us exactly what they want in simple terms. We could give them, I don't know, certain words that we want them to put together. We could say, you get these words, put them together in the order of preference that you want them. You might want, independence, followed by Brexit, followed by federalism, or whatever it is. But let's find out what people really want. It can't be that hard, surely. I mean, you could even just do it simply by having a simple census. Do you want independence or do you not? Ask everybody. Ask 4 million people that. Ask them to ballot in the normal way with ballot papers, just saying, yes, I want independence, no, I don't, ballot box. That means that we will find out what people want. And they're not under any compulsion by making this choice. This is only for information, and it is to inform the debate. That way, everybody is listened to, everybody's vote means something, and everybody gets to tell the politicians what they really want, not what the politicians want them to want by steering them towards just two choices or one choice. Let's let people choose. Anyway, that's my rant for tonight. Sorry if I'm knocking Nicola's speech today. It's an excellent speech. It's just more of the same waffle, though. That's unfortunately it. It's very erudite waffle, very accurate waffle. It's full of good intentions. It's full of excellent ideas and nothing much else. Nothing's happening. Nobody's any further forward. Nobody knows if we want independence or not. And unfortunately, Richard Leonard, for the first time in his entire life, said something which actually matters, which is we've no evidence to prove one way or the other whether people want independence or not. But we don't. We don't have any evidence of anything. The last evidence we had was from 2014, right? And there was only, a couple of percent in it. If there was only a couple of percent in it then, and things have changed so radically now, then I think we should know what the current picture is before we proceed any further. Otherwise, all the effort that we're making could be wasted, and we could end up losing, or we could end up with a stalemate. We don't know what will happen, but if we're so scared of losing, why don't we find out what the picture is first? Then we'll know how much work there is to do, and we'll also know what people want, and we'll be able to make arrangements for them to have that so that they can vote yes. That's about it for this evening, folks. I'm going to stop now before I start making totally meaningless statements, but basically we really need to find out what people want right now. I can't think of any better way than polling the whole country, because there isn't any other way of finding this out. Think about it. Let me know what you think. See you later.